All right. Hello, my name is Victor Cruz, and on behalf of our project, each of us will be speaking about what we did. So, for my part, I was responsible for making the code for the game, and for here, I'll be showing a little demonstration of how it works. This is the first code that needs to run that randomly sets cards in random order. So, when given out, it'll be randomly given. And as seen to the left, it's card one is assigned to the first card of the dealer. Second card is second card of the dealer. This is done by default because the dealer is always played. Then the number of players will depend on how much people play. So yeah, and here we go. I put all the codes for the dealer all at once, so it'll be easier to demonstrate. But normally within the game, the dealer's first card will be shown, then the second, and the final result of the game will be shown at the end because it's the end of the game. And as we see here, it demonstrates the first card of the dealer, which is 10 of diamonds, and the second card, which is ace of spade. And we already have a second code for that determines whether it should be a 1 or 11, but that'll be explained later. And luckily, the dealer got 21 in this game, so they would have won automatically. But in the situation of the game, we don't know that yet. And this is the code for the first player, where for now we're just giving an initial balance and initial bets. And the same thing for the dealer, it counts its first card and second card, where it states what cards they are. So in this situation, it is a four of clubs and a seven of diamonds in a total. And then in this situation where the dealer, or not the dealer, but the player would make a decision by one of the three buttons we have, which is a hit, a double, and a fold. The hit is kind of self-explanatory, where if a player decides to get another card, they hit this card, it'll be randomly given and it'll state what they want. A double is the same thing as a hit, but the bet is doubled, and they can only receive one card. And a fold is a forfeit from the player where they only receive half their money back. And the money has been taken already from the beginning of the game, so that's why it's like this. So in this situation, the player has 11, so normally they want to hit, and by playing the hit button, they get another card, and I'll add on to their card. But let's say, or I'll explain later, but then the final part of the code runs where it sums up in all the positive situation. I'll tally up the marks and see whether the house won, which is the dealer, or the player won, or it's or they both busted or they're drawn. So in this situation, the house wins because if you look back before, they had 21, and our player one only had, let's see, 18. So house wins. But then we'll show you demonstrations for the other buttons. So we'll run the button again. It doesn't matter much, but again, 21. That's one lucky dealer. If we hit the double button, it's the same thing as a hit. So it'll just run once, and the bet has been doubled. So as you can see here clearly, player one busted, the house wins, and the initial bet was 100, and since we doubled, now they lost to another 100, so it's 800. That's their player one's balance. And if you run the code again, again, this is one lucky dealer got 21. Here, let me get a different number just to make sure it's working properly. There you go, 25, dealer busted. Here, let me just run it one more time just to show that, the code is not busted. There you go, 18. Let's say, there's no time to play and you have to go. We play the forfeit button where I said it before.
I'm Eli Barner, and for our BlackJack final project, I mainly focused on creating the GUI for our game, such as creating the buttons and setting up their callback functionalities. I worked on gathering a lot of the images and making sure those would display properly in the game and that the game could access those images. I also created the startup function, made sure that it only displayed the images that needed to be displayed at the right time, and then set up the buttons that would then display the other images when they need to be displayed, just to make sure that the GUI was working properly, and setting up, some of the basic functions of the callbacks, uh, uh, and getting them set up and ready to have code put in them.
I'm Qida Wang. My group is Car Game 22. I'm mainly responsible for the calculation of BlackJack's numbers and scores, as well as searching for some rules. I searched on Wikipedia for a specific score calculation mechanism and detailed BlackJack rules, and then display them in our game. In this way, players can see the clear rules by clicking the rules button. At the same time, I also listed each possible score and the corresponding results. This makes it easier for players to see what scores they get.
All right, so to conclude this video, unfortunately, we weren't able to complete our game due to a lack of time and other situations that happened in the background. But the important thing is that we do have the codes that make the game run and all the files, the card files. So just with a little bit more time, we could have finished the project. But yeah.